G'day, my name's Darryl Webb. Today we're going to have a look at the new Infiray I Series 3, and this one is the E3 Plus. In this video we'll go over its specifications quickly. We're going to go over about some of its usability because this one's kicking goals with that. And we'll go over some pros and cons, and while we're showing the video I'll put lots of little clips over it so you can actually see what it's all about and what the video quality looks like out of it. Anyway, on that note, let's get into the review. Okay, I'm filming this audio through the device, and this is looking over where I normally do the testing. That house in the centre of frame there is at 550 metres when I've measured that with a rangefinder, and all those little dots in between there, they're all kangaroos. So you can sort of see there, it's picking up kangaroos, no worries, out at variable distances, out from out to over 550 metres. We'll just go through some of the colour palettes. Okay, so there's white hot, there's black hot. That makes them pop really well like that, doesn't it? Let's go red hot. So that's sort of like white hot, but just anything which is a bit hotter will have like a red flashing on it. Yeah, there you go. The rainbow, and back to white hot. Now what we'll do is, while we're in here, we'll go to 3 presets. Okay, that's flatland, that's focus. Focus sort of gives you a hyper sharp spot in the middle, and city, and back to forest. That seems to be a good all-rounder for me. And besides that, it's just brightness and sharpness. While you're at this, you can also zoom in, so I'll show you a bit of that. So there, that's so that will zoom back out. It's 1 time, 1.5, 2 times, 2.5, 3 times, 3.5, and 4. I find up to about 2 is pretty useful. After that, I'm not sort of gaining a lot out of it. Alright, so when you get this, it comes in this nice little Infiray box. It says on there's the new Series I. On there the model is i3, E3 Plus. In there is this little case, and the unit itself is in there. There's also a quick start guide. So when you open this little case, you have all your leads and chargers and things in there, and HDMI leads and whatnot, and you have the actual little unit there as well. So we'll just go over the unit quickly. Pretty much it has a diopter there, that's your adjustable diopter. It has a focus at the front. There is a magnetic charging there, but you can also actually plug that out, and there's just a normal USB-C behind it. All your functions are actually done through this little wheel, so you can zoom in, you can zoom out. If you press it once, it takes you into the menu. You go whatever menu, what do you want to go in the menu, clear view or whatever, and then click it again. All in all, everything's pretty much controlled for that. There is a short press and it starts video recording, and a long press and it will take a photo. Alright, so that's sort of that. Just a quick look in the book. So it's got a quick start guide. It's all pretty simple. It's very, very intuitive to use, to be honest. But we'll just go through some of its specs. There's all the info you need in here. But this is the E3 Plus. So it's a 284 by 288 sensor. Pixel size is 12 the net D is sub 25. That's important. It has a base mag of 3.5. And it's got digital zoom in here, 1:4. Detection range for a human sized target is 1300 metres. The display type, this one's important too because it's a really nice display. It's an OLED 1440 by 1080. It's got a built-in lithium ion battery, 4.2 amp hour, and battery life is up to 8 hours. I haven't actually run it out yet, but I haven't used it for 8 hours. I've gone for about 6 hours at a time, and it does it quite easily. IP ratings IP67. It's got 32 gig inbuilt memory, and it's application support, and it weighs less than 500 grams. And that's probably all you need to know about the specs. As I was saying before, just the features on it. The real quick ones are, as I said, you've got zoom and everything through there, and one press start recording, but you've also got a a 25mm lens. When you open this, the unit turns on. If you want to turn the unit off, you just shut it and it shuts it. If you want to go to standby, when you shut that, it'll come up and it shows in the eyepiece. You can just either press this button or that button and it makes it go to standby rather than being in actually turning right off. It's got some nice fancy colorations and things like that. They've gone all out on the aesthetics with this one, and usability is sensational with that wheel. That's just like, I can't overstate how important that is. That wheel is fantastic. I said the magnetic charging, and there is a tripod mount. Most of the Infirays have a tripod mount. These ones are all a little bit short. Some quick detach plates you would put on your thermal. The screw bottom's out before it actually gets tight, so you have to get a smaller screw. But that's about it. But besides that, a nice handy little case that's well constructed. Sort of semi-rigid, and all your leads and everything are all in there. And then also in the box, there is some of your like a wall outlet for USB, because it's USB-C charging. Pros and cons. It's reasonably simple because there isn't really too many cons. The one that sort of stands out to me a bit, I've noticed it on a couple of the other newer models now, is when you do the focus is very touchy. And with that said, most times when you find a distance you're looking at, sort of if you're out at 50 metres to 300, 400 metres, once you set the focus, you're not really playing with it very much. But if you're looking at things closer, the focus is quite touchy. It's not terrible, you can get it in sharp focus, but it's just, you have to concentrate a little bit on it. And I'd prefer it that if you just did it without really having to think about it too much, but it just happened very easy. And that's about the only thing that was a bit of a con for it. The battery charger, when it's magnetic, when you hit it on there, there's a little tiny light beside it, and it's very, very dim, and you sort of have to really study. If it's daylight, you've got no chance of seeing if it's charged or not by that little light. And that was about the only other thing that were cons, but they're really insignificant in the big scheme of things. On to actually, there was one more con, but it's not really a con, and it leads into the pros. The base mag at 3.5 times zoom. It's a little bit tight for me. I do a lot of close-up area stuff, so if you do that thing, you might want something with a bit lower base mag, around 2 or 2.5 would be more suitable for that kind of thing. But with that said, leading into the pros, the fact that this guy has that 3.5 base mag with the mid-range sensor, when you're out in open areas, it gives you the impression that you're using a higher end sensor because it's just a bit more zoom there, so it does make ID of the animals definitely a bit quicker with this base mag with a mid-range sensor. So that, in a way, it's a pro and con depending on how you use it, whether you're someone who uses it a lot of close shooting or whether you're someone who uses it for more open paddocks. If you're open paddocks guy, this one's really good. Massive pro, the biggest one on it altogether now is the ergonomics. This little rotary button, the way you can just go, click into a menu, long press it, takes you into the main menu, and just do everything with one little tiny rolly wheel. It's just like using a mouse, rolling it backwards and forwards and clicking it. It's fantastic, and compared to all the other button layouts that I've used on other models, this one's like miles ahead of it. I mean, I can't overstate how important that actually is, because I'm using the zoom, I'm changing color palettes, everything way more often, just because it's so simple. It's literally while you're holding it there, it's click and move it to the right one you want, and click, and you're changing palettes and zoom levels and the contrast detection. Like you've got those three presets like focus and grassland and forest. That's just, you use them because it's so easy to get into. So also the turn on, when you open it, it turns the unit on. And when you shut it, it turns it off. You can also, when you shut it, it comes up on the menu, you can interrupt it, just say by pressing a button, and it puts it into standby mode. So you don't have to have those long startup times. You can just go shut it, hit the button, and it's standby mode. That's really handy. The other big thing, and probably more important to me, but everyone who uses them, it's great now they record audio. So, and the audio is really good on this one. When I'm using this, and you'll see in the footage where I've recorded, I actually just use the audio to this. Like none of the others have I been able to use the audio for these videos from the unit. But this one does such a good job on the audio. I'm happy to use the audio on this. Even when it's a little bit windy, it still stayed pretty clear, and the audio was great. Also now while you're recording, you can see all the functions. So if you're zooming in and out, what color palette you're in, all the icons and everything all stay on the screen and go onto the recording. So if you're watching this, and you're watching your footage and you're going back, looking back, you're not sure the distances or what settings you had, you can see it all. It's fantastic. I love it. I love this eyepiece. Instead of having the little diopter adjustment on there, it's just now a quick twist. That does really well. It works. It's easy to find, and it's easy to quickly fine tune if you do bump it. Not that I've bumped it, it's been good. So overall, the ergonomics are fantastic. There is one other little con I've found. The little hole in the bottom for a tripod to go into, I have found that they're a bit shallow. All the newer Infiray seem to be like it, so you've got to modify the little bolt that goes in there, otherwise you'll tighten it right up and it's still loose on there if you're running on a tripod. But it's, you know, as I said, there's an easy get around. You can fix that quite well. And that's probably about it for the pros and cons. As I said, when you look through all the menus and everything, you can just do it all with that wheel, and that's just like, that's the biggest one straight there. And performance, having sub 25 millikelvin, when you're looking at something close up, you will notice straight away you see more detail in the target. That millikelvin number, sub 25, the lower the number, it's a noise equivalent thermal detection, I think is what it stands for. The more detail it sees in differences in temperature. So you'll actually see a lot more detail in the actual target animal, especially up close. With this guy being sub 25, you know, that's really high-end specs. So that's it. That's the pros and cons. Conclusion: who is going to want to use this? Anyone who does open areas. If you don't want to bite the bullet for the higher end sensor, this one with the 3.5 base mag and the mid-range sensor, it fills that void really well. Having the 25mm lens on it compared to some of the other ones that are normally like 19mm lens and that, you're getting a good distance for thermal detection. You'll see things quite far. And as I said, the 3.5 base mag actually helps and makes it look like your sensor's a little bit better. The eyepiece has quite high specifications with OLED in there as well, so you actually get a really good image out of it, and in that mid-range sensor price. It has all the other features you sort of want, but that's the important one. So if you're someone who goes out and does open areas, that's more what I would suggest this one for. If you're someone that goes in the forest and working close range, sometimes, you know, under 50 meters and that, this one's zoomed in just a little bit too much. But in the open areas, I've found it yeah, more than acceptable, and I've said it actually makes, with the 25mm lens and the 3.5 zoom, it makes it seem like a really high quality image. It's not quite as good as the 640 sensor, but it definitely seems better than the average 388 sensor, so that's who I'd recommend that at. At its price point, you're getting quite good performance, a lot more than the older models with the 384 sensor, and it's with a bit of modern trickery and these lovely functions. It's lifted this lifted the quality of this one up a lot more than previous models I've used with this sensor. So, scanning around here, you see some rabbits in it there. There is some kangaroos in it further out. I can sort of see every now and then they lift their heads out of the crop. There's kangaroo there, centre of screen. You can see it's several hundred metres here. For instance, there's a rabbit there. Those trees offer a long way away. But if we come around here, I know some of these distances because I was just using another unit that's got a rangefinder in it. And for instance, those trees in the background there, they're at 481 metres. So that there is a kangaroo, I believe. And he's out at probably 250 metres, and you can see he stands out really easy. So the sensitivity is, no worries with that, it works quite good. There's another small reel or something there too. Well, not so small when he comes out of the crop. Yeah, and that's sort of the focusing, it's a bit better. Focusing is quite touchy, like a lot of the new Infiray models are. Alrighty, I guess that's it. That's all my conclusions and whatnot. I do recommend this one quite a lot. I've been very surprised with its performance, and coming from a higher end sensor down to the mid-range again, I do notice the differences, but this one, yeah, look, I'd recommend it for spotting things out in the field. I'm not really noticing too much difference between this and my more high-end sensor, so a big thumbs up for it. Alright, a big thank you to Ground Force International for sending this out to me to review it, and so I can let you guys know if it's any good or not. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like more reviews and maybe some more hunting stuff and whatnot, hit the subscribe button. Bye for now.